Hi folks, welcome to Highway Crafting. This video is about my archery butt, which is 15 months old now, and it's time to replace some of the cardboard within it. But because I've had it for 15 months and I'm so happy with it, I wanted to share how it worked out. So first of all, you can see it's protected with a plastic bag, a large plastic bag, and this bag is actually on its side, and I had to tape up the front opening, the usual opening, and then slice one of the sides so that it was large enough to sit over the archery butt. And so it's held on with just an elastic here. And so every time I use it, I come by and pull off one elastic on that side and one elastic on this side. And one of the features I should show before I take the plastic off is the peaked roof here, and that's to prevent rain from pooling on top. This whole setup's been through windstorms, rainstorms, and even snow. And during the summer months, I have to replace the plastic bag a couple times because the plastic degrades and gets brittle. So to pull it off, shake off some of the water first if it's wet, just so the target doesn't get so wet. And normally the peaked roof doesn't fall off, but because I was doing this with one hand, it came off. So the peaked roof is just simply a piece of cardboard with holes in it that go on top of the tops of the ready rod. And if you make a peaked roof, you want to make sure the corrugations or channels go lengthwise, otherwise it's going to have more of a tendency to sag. So here's what it looks like when I'm using it. You can see the target is sitting off center because I tend to move the target around over weeks just to not wear out one particular spot. I also moved the whole target butt around in my yard just a few feet so that I don't trample too much in front of the target butt every time I'm picking up my arrows. And so over the last 15 months, I've been through about 35 to 40 of these paper targets, and I end up chewing them up a lot more than this one shows. But yeah, this one's just, I could use this one more, but it's time to actually replace the cardboard. Since it's a gloomy day, I thought I would work on that. And later in this video, I'll show you some videos of 15 months ago when I made this thing originally. The cardboard stack was actually probably about 4 inches higher, about up to there. But over the months, every month or two, I would compress down the cardboard stack to prevent the arrows from coming through so easily. Twice initially, I had rearranged the cardboard to distribute the wearing, but then I discovered just compressing the stack down is sufficient and it's much easier. And so this is how I would compress the stack down. Simply pull off the roof, press down on the 2x4s here, and screw the nuts tighter just by hand. And I did this not too long ago, so it's still pretty tight, but yeah, I could compress it some more again. So that's all I would do. Then I put the lid back on, and it will be ready for shooting again. These cross pieces here are not actually 2x4s. These are scrap pieces of wood. It's 2 1/4 inches by 1 1/2. But I'm sure 2x4s would suffice. If you look closely at some of the cross pieces, particularly at the bottom, You can see it's quite split here. That's from wild shots over the months. And I had to use chisel and hammer to sometimes get the arrows out. And because of those wild shots, actually, in the background, I put plywood on our fence just because every once in a while, a big twitch, a wild shot, and I've actually had an arrow lodge into the neighbor's wooden garage door, just loosely though. But anyways, another feature is yeah, these ready rod legs, they just poke into the ground. I did put little feet on here that I could turn and adjust for the height, but those became unnecessary. Initially I put them in there or on there because I used to have the target butt sitting in my wife's flower garden soil, which is a lot softer, and those little feet were to prevent it from sinking down too low and the wood soaking up water. Yeah, so actually back to the target papers themselves. Because I've been through about 40 of these, and I don't know how many hundreds of shots I might do on one. Maybe it's not in the hundreds, but anyways, the total number of shots this target butt has accepted is well into the thousands. And I think one of the reasons why it lasts well is because I tried to orientate it. Like here you can see it's leaning back a little bit. I orientated a little bit so that the arrows go directly into the channels as much as possible, into the corrugation channels. Well, I'll take this out of the way. Yeah, into the corrugation channels rather than going sidewards or up or down, because then it tends to cut into the cardboard more. And looking on the back here, you can see very little peel out of cardboard. So, and I haven't had to clean that up. Most of the cardboard remains there without peeling out. Here's a brief clip of me moving the target butt, just so that I don't wear out one part of the yard with walking on it. Sorry, we moved the top, wiggle it back and forth to get it out of the ground, move it to the new location, look at where I'm shooting from, try line it up almost exact, as square as I can, and press it in the ground a bit. And then to make sure I'm always shooting from the same distance, if you want to do that, I have a standard measurement location. From here, I measure how far in front of the target from this point to the target butt is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.5 feet or 5.5 foot steps. So then I do the same from my shooting location, because I have a predefined spot over there that is 22 yards from my target. Hi Tim. So I'm replacing the cardboard face on my targets. And what's interesting is the back side of this target, which was also used as a face in the past, but lately I've been using it as the back side of the target. So it gets all punched out here. But look at how solid this middle stuff is yet. So it's not all falling apart, which is a pretty good sign about how cardboard works if it's orientated correct. Tim, here's my new improved cardboard target butt. So as you can see, it's quite large, and that way it can catch the wild arrows. But there's many more benefits. All of them in theory though, because I haven't tried to use it yet. Yeah, so it's large, so I can move the paper target around to use up different areas of the cardboard as some portions get worn out. It has legs so that the cardboard stays off the ground and doesn't soak up water from the grass and ground. It's heavy, and so it will be quite stable and won't tilt over or slowly move due to arrows hitting it, but also the legs can poke into the ground a little bit to provide more stability so that it won't move. Then it also has, because the legs can press into the ground, you can adjust the tilt angle of it so that if you're shooting closer or further, you can adjust the angle just like they do in real archery. And what else? Well, yeah, it's easy to loosen the nuts on the top and then just replace the middle bunch of cardboard, which will surely get worn out faster than the rest of it. And what I need to do yet is add a roof so that it can stay outside permanently without getting rained on. Hey, Tim, 25 yards from here to the new setup in the distance. And I can leave that setup there permanently because it's waterproofed and it doesn't look too conspicuous, so Mare doesn't mind that it's sitting here. And it's been sitting out here through that initial rainstorm, the big storm that flooded your house, and I've used it a few times in the last couple days. So this is how I open it. I pull off this little rubber band and this little rubber band, and let's see if I can do this with one hand. It's just a large garbage bag that I had to slit on its side, otherwise it wasn't big enough to fit over top. And here it is. Looks nice, eh? Look at how dry it is. It's been through several storms already. So I had to put the cardboard roof on it so that puddles wouldn't form on top of the plastic, so water runs off the top. And I had to add little feet, just little plastic rings that are threaded onto the rod so that it doesn't sink any deeper into the ground, because with the heavy butt and the soft garden soil, it would sink down until these were hitting the soil, but then those would soak up water. So now it's good. And there's the target, the usual, slightly high and to the left, the majority of shots, but many of those shots are from practicing close up, where I intentionally aim off center so I don't wear out the center. And I guess that's about it. The other day I cranked these bolts, these nuts a little bit tighter, just because the arrows seem to be sinking too far into the target. Now they sink about 9 inches into the butt, and the whole butt depth is 12 inches. So we'll see how long it lasts. Okay, back to the present. This is December 2022. Here I'm cutting cardboard to replace the 13-month-old stuff. I cut 1 foot by 2 foot pieces because that's a reasonable size, and because many boxes come in multiples of 1 foot. When cutting, you want to make sure that the corrugation channels are aligned with the direction that the arrows will fly, so that the arrows have a tendency to slide into the channels rather than rip apart the cardboard. Ideally, you would get your cardboard from large appliances because that cardboard is thicker, often consisting of 2 layers glued together, so that saves you measuring and cutting. But also cutting from larger pieces is simply more efficient because you have less waste. The ideal is cardboard from kitchen fridges because those boxes are so large. In this case, I didn't have fridge boxes, but I did have some large boxes, which I could cut into 2 foot wide long segments, as shown in this video. Here I'm cutting the 1 foot segments from the 2 foot long strip. I first use a template to make a shallow cut. And then I break the cut and flip the cardboard over, and then use that resulting edge as a guide for the next shallow cut. and this saves you from unnecessary measuring and cutting. Here, I'm spending some time to fill in some of the voids with scrap pieces of cardboard. But I have mixed feelings about how important this is, especially for crossways voids like the one showing right now in the video. That's only like 1.5 inches of cardboard missing to fill in. Longitudinal voids that go along the length of the corrugated channels are more important to fill in. I did fill in some of those too. But either way, I filled in these crossway voids just because that's what I did. Before I dismantle this, I just wanted to show a few other things close up. So these are just little pieces of foam that are on here that just thread on, and they're angled like this just to support the peak to roof cardboard so that the cardboard doesn't slide down too far onto the post. And another thing, this is a sheet of 3/8 inch plywood that goes across, and there's one on the top and one on the bottom here. Oh yeah, and so this thing that I just pulled off here, this is what I use when I'm shooting at night. I often shoot at night because it's dark by 4:30 in the winter. And what I typically do is I lay it on the ground, I mean not on the concrete here, but on my grass yard, and I lay a flashlight, just a small flashlight angled up at the target, and about this distance from the target to just like 2 to 3 feet. And that flashlight provides enough light so that I can shoot in the dark, and I'm just seeing the silhouette of my sights on the target, which works out fine. On the top here, I have some predefined pencil marks indicating how far back from this front this brace or 2x4, or in this case it's not a 2x4, should be. And I'm just going to reinforce those marks so that, because they're getting a little faint, before I take this off. And it's not super important, but it provides a balance of force between the front half and the back half. And then also it controls the distance between this ready rod and this one, so that the peaked roof can sit on properly without getting too warped. And so back here, I can see this predefined line is hidden. There it is. I'm just going to reinforce it. Sorry, you didn't see that so well. And same with this one. There's the predefined line. Okay, I'm removing the foam tops. And now removing the ready rod nuts. And what I plan to do is save the top portion of cardboard and the very bottom portion and just replace the middle with my new sheets. As if I can get it to all unstick. Trimming off some of the uneven stuff here. Oh, interesting. This cardboard is very damp here. I didn't realize it had got so wet. So now I have to decide whether to keep the damp cardboard in there or replace it all. The top stuff is dry, so this is from the very top, so probably not too warm, so I can put this back in. Looks like I'll need to slide these cross pieces up quite high to get all the cardboard in. So rather than using the wet cardboard from the bottom of the butt, I'm going to just reuse some of the middle stuff that wasn't so wet. I still need more space, so I'm taking the cross pieces off. going to turn the nuts down on the bottom here so that these cross braces can slide lower so that I can fit this back in. These bottom nuts are rusted, so this isn't going to be as easy as I hoped. Trying to get rid of these little feet because I don't need them anymore. So yesterday I finished assembling the new target butt, and now it's out here already, and since yesterday it started snowing, so that's pretty exciting. And yeah, there's a few things I wanted to show you yet which I modified or just didn't explain. One is, yesterday I discovered that the bottom layers of cardboard were getting wet, and that's probably happened over the months and months, as it might be windy and rainy, and then the wind blows up the plastic and the rain can get up on the cardboard. So that's still going to be a little bit of a problem. For now, I just improved how the plastic is held on by doing it this way for now, but I suspect I'll still have problems in wind and rain. So I'll just remove the plastic here. And again with one hand. And so in this case, the roof is not mounted at all yet because I had a hard time pressing down these braces far enough so that I could have a long enough piece of ready rod sticking up for the roof to sit on. But that's not a big concern. Over the next couple months, I'm sure it will settle down more and the roof will fit on firmly. So another thing is the bottom ends of the ready rod, I had months ago already, I had ground them to a point so that they could press into the hard ground of our lawn easier. That's not an important thing, but it's helpful. And another thing I had done long ago is just cut the small corners off of this top piece of plywood, and that way there's less snagging of the garbage bag when I slide the garbage bag on and off, because it barely fits. And then another thing is I realized I didn't give any dimensions yet. So this is 3/8 inch ready rod, and they're 3 foot length pieces, and these holes on here are centered 2 inches from the end of the cross pieces, and the cross pieces are 30 inches long, so you can get exactly 4 of these from 2x4, I mean, that's 8 foot long. And then yeah, so the center of these holes on the ready rod sorry, the center of the holes on the cross brace is 26 inches. And in total, as you can do the math, there's 8 nuts in total and 8 washers. And when you cut the holes into the braces or the cross pieces, make sure you overcut the holes in size so that it's not difficult to slide the ready rods through. And then also the intention of this spacing here is that the center of these braces is 3 inches from this end and 3 inches from that end, just to distribute the forces across from the front to the back of the plywood. Hopefully later today or this week I'll be able to take a few shots and see how far the arrows sink into the butt. So we did get a lot of snow, and now I'm going to take my first few shots into the brand new target, but with a brand new target on the face of it. And just FYI, that pumpkin in the background is still left over from fall, and it's here because the neighborhood kids are going to come out and do some shooting too. Well, I can't complain about that. That's with no warm-up shots. I'm pretty happy. And what I'm doing is shooting from 22 yards with a 40-pound bow, a recurve, which is set up way back here. And there's one of the neighborhood kids getting ready to shoot with a small bow that I have for them. So here's my setup back here. Here's a neighborhood kid shooting. That's a 16-pound bow. Sweet, that's a good one. That's excellent. Let's go have a close-up look. That's pretty good.
Oh, gross. I hit that.
The pumpkin.
Oh! No, my turn. Oh, yep. Oh, terrible.
Oh no, I wrecked another arrow. This is how they were laying when I came to the target. These are looking all right, but look at this guy. What happened is I hit the ready rod with a wild shot. Right over, where is it? There. Let's see if we can focus on it.